With a few supplies and a little knowledge, you can build the golf set of your dreams. You can do this with a few easy steps. I'm going to show these to you today. I'm going to show you what tools you need, how to use them. In a short time, you'll be able to build your own set of golf clubs to use on the golf course. But there's a few things you need to pay attention to. And I'm going to tell you what products to stay away from, which ones to buy, and a few inside tips that'll have you building professional level golf clubs in no time at all. I'm Matt, and this is the Bogey Depot. The first step is if you're using shafts that have been used before, you're going to take the ferrules off and just take a utility knife and you kind of slice them off. A lot of times they come off really easy. These were TaylorMade, and TaylorMade, the person who built these used about 12 tons worth of glue. These are actually new shafts that were shafted at TaylorMade. They never had a grip on them, but they were installed in a club, and they used a lot of glue. I've never seen this much glue used on a shaft. So I really clean it off good and try to get it prepped and ready to go so we can move to the next step. And the next step is sanding. So to finish cleaning off these shafts really well, I used a belt sander I have, but you can use a regular just piece of sandpaper and get it just as clean. Just going to take a little bit longer, a little bit more elbow grease. But you get all this glue and you get everything nice and clean and just a great prepped surface. So it's going to stick when you glue the head on to the shaft. We're just making it nice and neat and pretty and clean. We're also going to do the same thing to the inside of the hosel. You can see that hosel is pretty dirty in there. You can see even the top. So I take a 3/8 inch drill bit. So I take a 3/8 inch drill bit and you just get rid of, that's just glue coming out of there that was in from the last time the hosel was in there. And that drill bit will not drill through anything. It's not going super high speed. I'm not doing anything ridiculous. I'm just getting all that glue out of there and getting it cleaned up nice. And then I'm taking a wire brush bit and cleaning it out really good, just getting it all cleaned out, everything nice. I usually do this over top of a 5-gallon bucket, so it's a little bit cleaner and not as messy. And then I do the same thing to the top and just make sure everything's nice and clean and going to sit well. And next, we're going to clean the inside of the shaft. Sometimes they have glue in there if they've been priorly installed. This one actually has plastic caps, and I don't like the plastic caps because they often kind of force the head back off. Things will airlock and it just doesn't work really well in my experience. So I take those out and drill them out, and anything else that needs drilled out, I'll also do that. But like I said, these shafts all had caps on them, so everything came out nice and clean, and that's the only one I really had to do anything to. So I took my measurements of the lengths I wanted each of my irons to be. And what I do is I either take a piece of tape, but these had the shaft label still on them because they were new, and I write what shaft it is so you're not hunting around, and it just makes it nice and easy when you're lining up the clubs. And I'll put the head on and I will lay them down on my ruler. And you can buy this. This is just a regular metal ruler with this Dynacraft bench roller sole plate thing that works really well, and it's awesome. It just bolts to your bench. You can take the ruler in and out. I just bought another good ruler off of Amazon. And I'm just finding the length that I need and marking it on my ruler or marking it on my shaft so I can cut these off. I'll do this for each club. You know, they're all going to need it. These were not, I think these were all about a 1/2 inch long. Some were only like 1/4 inch long. So they did not take good care at the factory in these. Do every iron you have and make a nice mark there and get ready to cut them off. And that's what we're going to do next. So before I cut them, I am going to go back and I am going to double check that measurement again, because you need to measure twice and cut once. And actually you can measure 2 or 3 or 4 times and cut once because you don't want to screw up. So that's exactly what I do. Every time before I cut it, I measure and I turn the saw on, and you can use a pipe cutter, you can use a Dremel, you can use all kinds of things. I don't do the best job of showing you guys here how this works because of the camera's kind of right in my way. And I'm trying to line things up really well and make sure I make a really good cut here. So sorry, my hand's in the way, but all it is cutting the tip of the shaft off. As you can see it fall there to the ground and all done. That's a neat, handy little device that you can buy from GolfWorks that kind of does a little bit of everything. So I'm going to line this up, and I'm going to do another check once these are cut off and ready to go, and know that it's the right distance. I sand the tip off just to get any burrs or anything off of it and make it nice and neat. And we are going to do that to every single shaft that I have. Moving on to the next club here, we're going to double check. Yep, that's the right measurement. And I'm going to pull the head back off, sit it down, put it inside the little mechanism here that holds the shaft. This thing is really, really nice. And just make another cut, take my time, make a good cut here. And you can see I'm really making sure that I have the exact spot on the cutting wheel, and cut it off and continue to move on. You can see that's about a 1/2 inch. Like I said, I think these are about a 1/2 inch long. Sand any burrs off there and make it just nice so I don't cut myself and doesn't cut through the grip. Double check one more time that I did a good job, because if you didn't, you're screwed and need to order a new shaft. But you can see that turns out really well. Actually, these all were right on, and it's really nice. Next, I'm going to take those shafts and we're going to install grips. I have a grip installation little setup here, and it works really well. Put the double-sided tape on, make sure it's all nice and smooth. And I think the GolfWorks tape, that tape to me is the best grip tape that there is. I highly recommend you use that tape. And just as important is the GolfWorks solvent. Their solvent's the best. I've used other solvent. I don't like anything else besides this. This solvent does a good job. It dries really well. It's not oily, doesn't leave any residue. Throw some inside of the grip. Take your finger, shake it up so you get it all around the grip. Take your finger off the bottom and just get ready to slide it on. Now this shaft is logo up, so because I want my logo down on my grip, I also put the logo up. So do everything logo up, and then when I install it, I'll install all of those logo down so I don't see any of that. And get it on nice and straight. Take your time. You got plenty of time to be able to do what you need to. Pound it down a little bit just to make sure you reach the whole way to the end. Wipe off any of that excess glue that's slid up to the front, and do the rest of these. Then before we glue these on, we need to make sure we install our ferrules. And the way I do this is install the head and double check that you're going to have everything at the right distance. And when you install that head, I make a mark on one of them with a Sharpie. I take out this little ferrule tool that you can do it without it, but it makes it really nice. And it has measurements on it. As you can see, I put it on the wrong way here, and I figured that out and turned it back around. I can never remember how it goes. And you put the end of the ferrule tool where your line is, and you double check how far the ferrule needs to go down. And I believe this was, I can't remember. I'm going to write it down here in a second. It was 1 3/8 of an inch. So I will install all those ferrules just shy of 1 3/8 of an inch. And the reason I'll do that is then once I put the head on, I'll kind of pound that down, and it'll force that ferrule on that extra, 16th or 32nd of an inch. And I just pound it on with a hammer. I usually do this on top of the table, but you guys couldn't really see real well. So it's a little bit more challenging holding the shaft and the ferrule and the ferrule installation thing. And I've actually had that hammer that I bought from like an IKEA, or I got in an IKEA set. So I've been using that. And once this is all ready to go, then we swing weight it. Now, do you have to swing weight? No, you don't have to swing weight. These were all really close. I actually only had a mess with really 2 of these. One, I put a little titanium powder in the 4-iron, and I had to do the pitching wedge too. I like these at D1. I prefer my swing weight at D1. So these are all swing weighted to D1, and they come out good. You got to have everything on there, because if you don't, the swing weight will not be correct. So you need to make sure you have the ferrule on and the grip on and everything. You can see this is the pitching wedge. The swing weight was not correct on this, so I had to add a little bit. I don't even know what weight. It was one of the smaller swing weights that I had, and I added that little swing weight, and it was literally perfect. comes out right to D1, right where I wanted it, and we're on to the rest of them. It's not a perfect science when you're swing weighting. I mean, you might be D1.25 or D1.5. To me, that's close. We're talking like the weight of a dollar bill, I think, is different between D1 and D2. So it's a really insignificant amount of weight. You are going to add a little bit of glue to that head, but I don't find that makes a big difference. So I'll go through all of these. I'll swing weight all of these, make sure that everything is where I wanted it D1. And as I go through all of these, you'll see these little swing weight mechanisms, whatever they're called. They're really nice. They're about $150. I bought this one used. It's a little bit of a nicer one, but it was used. They work really well. I use it all the time because I'm really particular about how I like my swing weights, or I found that I'm really particular. I didn't know that I was, but I was like, oh, why do I like these clubs so much? So that's why. Because the swing weight I like all my irons right around the D1 or D2. Now we get to go to the fun part. Now's when we're going to glue everything in. We use glue, and I like Golfworks Tour Set Plus Epoxy. That stuff is the bomb. I just started to use it a few months ago. I've never had any issues with it. It takes a long time to set. It's like 4 hours until it's usable. That to me is worth it. I've had some quick set things, and they just don't work real good. They're hard to work with. You got to be quick. And I've just had some of them fail. I've never had any of this stuff fail. It's been awesome. I put a little bit of glass beads, centering beads in there. Some guys say you need them. Some guys say you don't. I think it helps a little bit. I do think it helps center the shaft a little bit better. Maybe it's all in my imagination. So I mix all this in nice, try to keep some air bubbles out of it, and I mix it with a T on a piece of cardboard, as you can see. Take this glue, put a decent amount inside of the head, and I'm using the T, and I just install it inside the head. I put, I don't know, how much is that? 1/8 of a teaspoon. I don't know. If you put too much in, you're going to have glue everywhere. It's just kind of a feel thing, but I just put kind of 2 amounts I can put on a T. You have to take the ferrule back off because you need to glue the ferrule down. I have not glued ferrules before, and then they come loose and they slide up the head. So I've started to glue the ferrules. You just need a wee little bit of glue. I slide the ferrule back on. I will then put it down to, again, just past where it needs to be. And as always put it on upside down. I'll put that back on there. Then I will take the shaft that I just glued, or the head. I will take the shaft. I will put a little bit of glue on the shaft also. As I put the head on, I will spin the head around and make sure that glue's evenly distributed through there. See, you get a little glue coming out the top. That's good. That means everything's coated. One thing you don't see me do here that I did once I sat this down here and finished it was I wanted to make sure that ferrule was set really good on the head. So I pounded it down a little bit. So this is kind of a little duplicate here, but I rinsed or take all of the excess glue off, and then you're going to see me pick up a rag with a little bit of grip solvent. That'll wipe any of the excess glue residue off then, and just clean everything up, make everything look nice, and you have basically a finished club. You need to make sure that the shaft is on straight how you want it. All the glue that you can get off, you need to get off so things don't get disgusting. This quick set or this non-quick set glue, you don't need to use. You really can put as much as you need down. I don't know why I put so little down the first time. So this second time I put a little bit more glue, which should be enough to finish everything that I need for the rest of these clubs. Like I said, I'm going to mix it. Try not to introduce any air bubbles, so be careful with that. And again, I use a golf tee. I find that the easiest thing to use. I've seen guys use chopsticks. That probably would work really well too, but the golf tee works great. I try to put a little bit of the glass beads in. I used to use too little because I was warned, don't use too much. I think you're not supposed to have more than 10% glass beads. Mine's obviously way less than that. I'm probably closer to 5%. but I found that works pretty good. Again, I'm checking the head. I'm going to check the shaft to make sure I have the right shaft to go with the head. That's why I like to mark them. Pull the ferrule off, put just that little bit of glue on there, install the ferrule. These are my new Buckeye ferrules from BB&F Ferrules. Those ferrules are the bomb. You can see all the BB&F bags in the background back there. I have tons of ferrules. They look cool. I've changed shafts and things a lot. And plus, sometimes I just want to put a different ferrule on. I'll take the heads off and put new ferrules on and put the shafts back on because I just think they look really cool. I'm pretty excited about these Ohio State ones. That's where I went to school. Again, 2 kind of scoops of glue inside of the hosel here. And I just try to distribute it around a little bit. Make sure everything's in there. Put another little bit in. Distribute it around really good. Add my glue to the shaft. Twist the head on, or twist the shaft on, I should say, onto the head. Get it how I want it. You'll see this one I do in frame for you. Well, I try to do in frame, I guess not. I did it on the floor. I made sure that I smack that head down to push the ferrule the rest of the way, and I'll clean it off, and we will go about doing our business here and finish this one and do the rest of them. You can take your time. Again, if you don't have quick set epoxy, you don't have to worry about that epoxy setting really fast. Just make sure it's better to do one little bit of glue if you have quick set epoxy, and so you don't have to rush, than doing a whole bunch of different sets of glue or doing a whole bunch of different. If you have quick set epoxy, it just makes sense to take your time, do what you need to do, and only do one at a time if you only put that much glue down. But this non-quick set epoxy, this Tour Set Plus epoxy from Golfworks, I do not get the stuff with the glass beads, and I like to add my own glass beads. This Tour Set Plus stuff is the bomb. I highly, highly recommend it. I don't use Golfworks stuff just because it's Golfworks stuff. I've used other things. I just like this the best. If I do need a quick set, I think it's called Brampton's 30-minute set. That's and it sets a lot faster than 30 minutes. Maybe it's actually 15 minutes. I can't remember. It comes in 2 bottles. You can buy it on Amazon. You can buy all this stuff. I'm not sure if you can buy the Tour Set Plus epoxy on Amazon. You may have to get that from Golfworks, but just place a good order from Golfworks. And I buy 3 or 4. I do a lot of clubs. I do buy 3 or 4 sets of these or tubes. And I have that dispenser too, which is really nice. It's like the best $13 you'll ever spend. I recommend you buying the dispenser off of Amazon because it's about 1/10 the price as the one that they sell on Golfworks. And again, I'm just taking my time, getting everything on there, making sure the glue's, coated everywhere around. Don't go too fast. I did this one time to actually the most recent set of clubs I had, and I was in a hurry. I wanted to get them done. I used quick set epoxy, so I get out on the course later that afternoon, and I had some ferrules slide up, and I just did a crap job. I had a couple where I didn't have the ferrule set the whole way, and just take your time. Take your time. You can see there I'm adding the swing weight. I put the swing weight, a little bit of glue on the swing weight, slide that inside the shaft, and then everything's the same again. It's not that big of a deal. Like I said, I did add a little bit of titanium powder to one of them, and the reason I did that was to get the weight I needed on that forehand. I needed to add just a little bit, and a swing weight to put in there was a little bit too much. You can see they turned out fantastic. These are Mura CB302s. They're the bomb. I didn't realize that until after I had these and hit them. And these are Modus 105 shafts in stiff with Golf Pride Tour Velvet cord grips. I hope you learned something. I really enjoy putting these videos together for you guys. I really enjoy building clubs. It's one of my favorite pastimes to do. Crack yourself a beverage and build some clubs. Nothing's more fun than that. This is Matt. This is the Bogey Depot. Hit 'em straight.